Call to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to December 14th, 2017 Hillsborough Township Planning Board meeting. This meeting has been duly advertised according to Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law, 1975, Sunshine Law. Roll call, please.
Mr. Peason?
Present.
Ms. Forrest? Ms. Beccarina? Mr. Wagner?
Here.
Mr. Hestad? Mr. Scobo?
Here.
Mr. Weinstein? Vice Chairman Julian?
Here.
Committeeman Delcourt? Mayor Sarchi?
Here.
Chairman Lapini?
Here. Bonnie's fine. Lapini. All works for me. All right, so the first order of business is deposition of minutes, which there are none for today's meeting. Planning board business, there are none. Special committee reports, there are none. Is there any business from the floor for the board that is not on tonight's agenda? Seeing none. No consideration of ordinance, so we go right to our first public hearing, which would be the Scott Lutsky, File 17, PB 10 MSV, time of decision of January 17th of 18, Block 152, Lot 4 and 4.01-472 and 466, Farm Road. Applicant seeking consolidation of existing lots to seek preliminary and final major subdivision approval and C bulk variance for relief for minimum side yard setback. Existing dwelling on proposed lot 4.02 to remain. Excuse me. Hardship waiver, tree mitigation, and submission waiver for submitting a community impact statement to subdivide 5.91 acres to 5 single-family dwelling lots with improvements on property in the R residential zoning district. EC review of 9/25/17, revised plans and reports received, 11/27/17. Application hearing continued from October 12th, 2017 without further notice. After all that, Counselor, I need a break.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Peter Lanford appearing on behalf of the applicant. Oh, sir, is that better?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
The man in the back calls the shots here.
Okay. As you indicated, we were here on October 12th, at which time we presented the application before the board. This was an application to create 4 new building lots and do a lot line adjustment with a 5th lot with an existing dwelling on it. There were members of the public at the hearing. There were some concerns by a couple of the neighbors regarding drainage. As a result of those concerns, we were asked if we can re-examine the drainage to perhaps assist the neighbors in their problems and to make sure all our drainage drains away from those residences. We indicated we would be able to take a look at that and thought we could accomplish that. Mr. Ford then prepared revised plans that dealt with that issue, made a resubmission at the end of November. I believe Mr. White issued a report in December dealing with that. There were still some comments in that report. I reviewed the report with Mr. Ford. We can go over it, but in essence, we can comply with all of the comments that are contained in that report. If the board recalls, this was a fully conforming application. There were no variances that were being sought in conjunction with this application. So I will leave it up to the board whether they want to hear from Mr. Ford as to what we've done.
Mr. Chairman, just for the record, we have received certifications of absent board members from Mr. Wagner and Mr. Peason, which allow them to participate in this evening's hearing. Otherwise, we would lack a quorum.
Thank you. Mr. White, is there anything you'd like to go on the record, or anything that touched on note that was questionable for just to put on record that's been addressed as far as?
I think the one thing I really want to get on the record is that this could be a private street, so we'll have its own lot number eventually, once we revise the final plat, so that this will be maintained, owned and maintained by the homeowner association along with the drainage system that's below it. I think it's an important thing to just make sure we get it on the record.
We did agree to that at the last hearing, and I will reaffirm that.
I see that there was a revised, just to have a revised landscape plan and some trees were moved around, Mr. Ford, based on some of the comments of the public. Maybe you could just describe what was briefly changed in the landscape plan? from
Yes,
what was done
okay.
before?
Why don't we swear Mr. Ford in again, Mr. Chairman?
Okay.
Do you solemnly swear testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Can you just state your name for the record, please?
Michael Ford, F-O-R-D.
Thank you.
Van Cleef Engineering, licensed engineer, appeared at the last hearing.
Happy holidays, we'll take it.
Thank you. Yes, we were directed after the last hearing to make those changes with the storm drainage, and effectively, there was drainage that went to the rear of the lot, away from Farm Road, including the discharge from the underground basin, which was directed toward the lot to the north, Lot 3. The board directed us to actually make those physical changes to the plan, bring it back to your engineer to review, and that would be a rerouting of that discharge so it connects to Farm Road. We've done that. I think Mr. White's office in his December 11th review has additional items for us to address, as Mr. Lanford has indicated, but none of them are with regards to the redirection of that storm drainage or the drainage to the neighbors. So we feel we've accomplished that goal. And then with regards to landscaping, the tree mitigation is focused at the perimeter of the property and primarily along our most immediate neighbors to the east, the existing residents. So we've used the replanting, remitigation, and redistributed those trees to concentrate and focus them in areas where we're effectively buffering new houses from existing houses, but we've done that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Neil?
Did you guys get in a response from DNR Canal?
Yes, we have a review comment memorandum from them that we'll have to address. That'll be a condition of approval that includes, we've addressed the stormwater management aspects of the project in some regards, but other regards they wanted some additional information. We'll be doing that.
So, yeah, you didn't receive approval yet?
No, actually the DNR Canal Commission won't approve us until the planning board approves us.
Okay.
We need the resolution of approval from Hillsborough Township in order to secure the final approval from DNR.
And I guess the only other thing is, Bill, did you guys have a chance to review the stormwater plan, the new one, the revised one?
Absolutely.
Okay, what did you think?
It's a lot better than what we had before. We were concerned with a discharge and had a point discharge off onto neighboring property, which was basically sheet flow before that, or maybe even concentrated flow. And you change it all to a point discharge, you end up getting erosion problems, et cetera. This is a much better plan.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Yeah, just a comment on the tree mitigation plan. You still, if I'm not mistaken, you still need a waiver for removing trees outside of the critical footprint area, correct?
Correct.
And you need a variance for removing more than 20% of the existing trees on the property?
That's correct.
Okay. And the replanting plan would be subject to the approval of the board engineer?
Correct.
Okay. One other thing, yeah, I think it was mentioned at the last hearing about affordable housing obligation. The way our ordinance is set up, it's one affordable for 8 units. You've got 4, so you'd have a half a unit. So your options are to either build 1 unit on site or to contribute to the in lieu fee of 1% of the assessed value of each new house.
And we would be proposing a contribution.
Okay, thank you.
Is that it, Dave?
That's it.
Okay. Open motion to public.
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, is there any questions for the public based on the testimony given by Mr. Ford or by the attorney on the application and the revisions that were done? Okay. Seeing none. Motion to close?
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Anything to add from anyone else that saw? Okay, so in essence, we've seen a correction and an addressment of the stormwater management system from last meeting. To summarize, and please correct me if I'm wrong, we've seen a change in the landscape plan in the tree mitigation. We've addressed the stormwater runoff to now go all away from the properties. You are now going to give a in lieu payment for the COA regulations instead of a house. And all the other amendments or approvals required as per the professionals in the letters you have agreed to abide to as stated prior, correct?
That is correct, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. If there's anything else that's added, I would ask for a motion to approve or to
I'll
deny
make
this
that motion.
application.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. We have a second?
Second.
Okay.
With all the conditions
With all
agreed
the
upon
conditions.
in accordance with all the various reports of the professionals and the testimony presented.
Correct. All right, we'll take a roll call.
Mr. Peterson,
Yes.
Mr. Wagner,
Yes.
Mr. Hestad. I'll be that.
Absent.
Mr. Scobah,
Yes.
Mr. Julian,
Yes.
Mayor Sarachi.
Yes.
Chairman Lenapi.
Yes.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much. Have a good holiday.
You also? There's no correspondence in your packet, so to speak, so we need to address, Dave, if you want to, our next meetings, which would come into the regular meeting and the reorg meeting. We have to have a meeting at January 11th, which will be our reorg meeting at 7 o'clock, followed by our regular meeting of 7:30. And is anybody here that is knowing that they're not going to be here for that? Who's on board?
As to those members who will still be on the
That
board,
will
as
still
of-
be on the member that you don't know, you can find out.
I won't be here on the 11th.
Mr. Scobo will not be here.
I will also not be here.
What were the dates again? Sorry.
The 11th
January?
of January.
What would normally be our second meeting of the month will be our only, I believe, only meeting of the month, because we're doing reorganization 1 week later.
Yes.
So we'll inform Deborah, those who are on the board, that they're not available, but
I'll
I
be out.
will not be here also.
And 3.
That was
Mr.
3.
Peason, Mr. Lapani,
Mr.
and
Peason.
Mr. Scobo. So I also will assume it will depend upon
On
selections of those members who are
up for reelection,
reappointment.
reappointments. But needless to say, in essence, I want to thank the board and all our professionals for a year of dedication and quality work. I look forward to working with all you again, those who are here next year, and all of you a very merry, happy holiday, and the best for your families. And I will motion for adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.